Now let's start with the second part, that is answer these questions. The first question is, what kind of a person is Mr. Fly? So you have to simply tell what kind of a person is Mr. Fly. Means you have to tell the personality of Mr. Fly. So you can simply say that Mr. Fly is a sharp little fellow who does as he wishes and goes where he pleases or where he likes. So Mr. Fly is a sharp little fellow, and wherever he pleases, he goes away. He simply do whatever he feels like. Now see the next one. Write a few lines about the way Mr. Fly moves. You have to simply tell how Mr. Fly moves. So you can say that Mr. Fly can walk with his feet to the sky just as well as the speaker can on the floor. And he comes to the window with a buzz and a roar. He can easily pass through the smooth glass or through the keyhole of the door. This is what Mr. Fly can do, and this is what the question is asking you to tell, right? The question is simply asking you to write about few lines the way Mr. Fly moves. Okay? The next question, what can you say about Mr. Fly's eating habits? You have to simply tell about the eating habits of Mr. Fly. Eating habits you have to tell. So what you have to tell now? You have to tell about the eating habits of Mr. Fly. So you can answer that Mr. Fly likes to eat sugar and goes without ever paying for it. Sometimes he also plunges his head into the cream. This is the eating habit what the poet has told you in the poem itself. Okay, now the next one. Does Mr. Fly pay any attention to the hygiene? You have to tell about that. Does Mr. Fly pay any attention towards the hygiene or not? This is what you have to tell. So just see, you can answer like this. Yes, Mr. Fly keeps himself clean. So how you can tell? Which line tells you? The poet has explained in the poem that he stands on the edge of the jug and cleans his wings with his feet and hands. So this shows that Mr. Fly is very curious about his hygiene. Okay, the next question. What can be said about Mr. Fly's social skill? What you can say about Mr. Fly's social skill? So you can say Mr. Fly is not very social. Why not very social? Because he goes to the sunbeams without stopping to shake hand or to say goodbye to anyone. So this shows that he is simply not very social. Okay? Now see the next one, appreciation. You have to tell what is the mood of the poem. You have to tell the mood of the poem. So you can simply say that the poem has a humorous mood where the speaker has described the habits and behavior of the fly in a very funny manner, isn't it? So the speaker has simply explained about how the Mr. Fly behaves. Next one, list 6 pairs of rhyming word used in the poem. So right now I have told you about the rhyming words, right? So you have to pick up the rhyming words from the poem and write down 6 rhyming words. Why is Mr. Fly referred to as a sharp and a strange little fellow? Why? Why the poet has simply called him, this fly, as a sharp little fellow? So the poet has simply said that this Mr. Fly is a sharp little strange fellow because he's smart and he behaves in a very strange way. He's clever and knows how to easily pass through the smooth glass through the keyhole of the door. He knows how to move. And he also has the strange habits like he plunges his head into the cream and goes over to the sunbeam without shaking hands or saying goodbye to anyone. Okay, now see the next one. Pick out lines from the poem that tells you that. You have to simply pick up the lines that tell you that Mr. Fly went wherever he pleased. So you can simply just see this line. He goes wherever he pleases. And just simply say he goes wherever he pleases, right? So So this is the line. Mr. Fly went wherever he pleased. So this line simply tells you. So you have been asked to pick up the line, okay, from the poem itself to tell about. Now Mr. Fly was a busy person. Mr. Fly is a busy person. So you have to simply pick up the line and tell which line tells. So at present I haven't a minute to stay. So this shows that Mr. Fly is a very busy person. I hope all these answers are clear to you, right? And children, simply try to understand. You have to write it yourself, right? Try to write it yourself. I've explained you the thing. There's no need to mug up the answers. The chapter is clear, right? So it becomes easy. Simply what you have to do is understand the poem, listen to the question and try to write the answer yourself. I'm explaining you these answers so that if any query is there, you will get it removed right now. And after that, sit back and write the answer the way I have told you. No need to mug up as the way I have told you. Right? Now the next one is simply imagine that you are Mr. Fly and how would you describe a day in your life? Now it is for you to simply imagine yourself with Mr. Fly and just express what you will do the whole day. How will you spend that day in your life? Just write it down. Just think of imagine. You have to imagine and write. Now for the personification, I have told you, when we talk about a non-human things as if they were human, right? So this is known as personification. You simply assume any non-living thing or any animal as human. So that is known as personification. This is one of the figure of speech. I've explained you this thing. So as a fly has been over here in this poem, the fly has been personified in the poem you have just read. Now write a short poem of your own using the figure of speech, right? So you have to simply personify, just write a small poem. Got it? So I hope so this chapter is very clear. Kindly just listen to the poem again, understand it, and then try to attempt all the questions. Okay? Goodbye then.